Hey everyone, Benny and Shank back with another episode of What Are We Doing in Destiny? Shank thought it'd be a lot of fun to do a season in review kind of a situation now that we've been playing the season of the Chosen for about a week now. He opened up a great laundry list of bullet points and outlined stuff that we're going to discuss, and I'm going to ignore all of it and talk about the penguins that are on Europa. That's a lie. Anyway, let's talk about the season. Shank, say hello.
Hello, guys.
All right, so let's recap real quick where we've been with the Destiny season in general. So Beyond Light dropped in November. Beyond Light itself, I had a lot of fun with, had a great time with, thought the overall plot was good, loved Stasis. Season of the Hunt started up shortly afterwards, and I don't think anyone can argue that it felt very empty and lacking. Can you, Shank?
I would argue that, yes, gameplay-wise, it felt very lacking.
There wasn't much to chase, there wasn't much to do story-wise, there wasn't much to do gameplay-wise, and there was no group activity.
Right. The weapons were, while they weren't bad, there was nothing really to chase in there. Eventually, right. Hawkmoon dropped, and that was fun to go after. You could get random rolls of that. There was the Harbinger mission in Coup de Grace. That was a little bit later in the season, but I feel like by the time those dropped, everybody had kind of checked out of Destiny for the time.
I didn't even know Harbinger was around until I was looking at some things I need to clean up for the season to end. Like, I have to wrap up. What's a Harbinger?
Which, I mean, that being said, it was a good mission, and like I said, the story and the lore, everything involving the Crow, I actually really enjoyed. It's just because it was so time gated throughout the season, I almost feel like you did the season in a better way because you did everything all together at once.
Yeah, I did like a 3-day just play a bunch of Destiny and enjoy myself. The only part I hated was grinding out those weapons, just the kills for the triumph. That's basically it. So
agreed. They did that with Season of Undying too.
Yeah,
where you had to just get a certain type of weapon kill with a seasonal weapon, and it's never fun.
No, it's not fun at all. But that brings us, of course, to Season of the Chosen. The Destiny community was at an all-time breaking point. The PvE players were getting fed up with nothing to do. The PvPers are still mad about Stasis for the most part. And I'm talking about the community as a whole. This isn't even our general opinions. If you just go to Reddit, you can see these things. But Season of the Chosen dropped. And first off, I was a little worried about the Season of the Chosen simply because we weren't getting any information and the cinematics showed nothing. Like the trailer, not cinematic. So I was a little worried about it at first, but it did drop, and the opening cinematic is awesome. I loved it. I love the basic story. I love the overall reason for us doing this. I love the inclusion of the Helm, a building that is probably on the screen right about now. But it's like a new hub. We have a new mission. We have a purpose. We're fighting the Cabal again, but we haven't done it in 3 years, so I'm okay with that. What do you think of it so far?
So they dropped us right into that meeting with Zavala and Keitel, and I thought that opening cutscene was actually really cool. I think it's a lot more ambiguous than people are leading on. And granted, this is not just my own theory. I saw this on Reddit and on YouTube, but I think they're kind of setting up for us to eventually have a more equal alliance with the Cabal, at least a faction of the Cabal. But I think it did a good job setting up the seasonal content, the Battlegrounds, as for why we're doing it. It got you invested in what we were doing. We're going out. We're taking out generals or commanders in the Cabal army who want a seat on Keitel's War Council, essentially. So, I think as far as the opening day one impression, I mean, it was good. There's been a lot to do, and then as far as the Helm, I'm loving the Helm. I wish there was a Cryptarch somewhere in here, especially since Tyra Karn is helping put this all together.
Yeah,
it'd be kind of nice if we just shoved her in here somewhere so that we could decrypt those engrams here too.
Yeah, no, I agree with you about the Helm. It feels weird. It feels like they wanted to put all the tower stuff in here, but then they were like, well, they won't go to the tower. So they like picked and chose what they didn't, like the vaults here, the Umbral Ingram things here, the war tables here, but nothing else.
But if they had a not a postmaster, I'm sorry. If they had a Cryptarch here, they would have the essentials for you to stop here, clear out your inventory, and get back into the fight. Think about what else is in the tower. It's your vendors for Vanguard, Crucible, Trials, Gambit, Clan. Like, they're all vendors.
They made a bunch of those vendors unimportant now, thanks to the fact that we don't turn tokens into them anymore.
Tokens haven't been important really since year one. I mean, a couple seasons ago, you could use them to level, but besides that, they're more bounty farms than anything. But they even are reworking that. I don't know if you've been to Shaxx too much, but they reworked how Shaxx is giving out rewards, which I think really actually incentivizes you because you can see what you're going to earn if you continue to play Crucible.
Yeah, so. I do like the new system. I have all the armor unlocked for all three of the characters, and I do like that system better than well, here's a random engram with more shit you probably don't want. You know what I mean? No, it gives you a very direct focus for doing Crucible, Vanguard Strikes, or Gambit, you know?
You've seen Shaxx this season with, at first you can get a Prime engram, and then I think there's enhancement prisms you can earn.
Yeah, no, I like that track. And the armor at the bottom of the whole thing for completing weeklies per week.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that is a good way to refresh the seasonal, or not seasonal, but playlist vendors. But then you have this area, which is more like a staging ground for whatever the seasonal content is going to be. And I'm hoping they keep this around. I'm really hoping it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one too. That brings us to the Battlegrounds. I do like the Battlegrounds as a system. The problem I've always had with a lot of the old systems, it didn't make any sense for us to constantly be running it. They never gave us a good story reason. The only one I can really think of for why you would run it 100 and something times was, what was the one with the time travel? Sundial.
Sundial.
Like, that one story-wise made sense why we're in here for the 100th time fighting off against these things, you know?
Seraph Towers actually had a good lore reason. We were deploying satellites for Rasputin. It's just the event itself was not match made, and therefore it was annoying to do, so nobody wanted to do it.
I don't know. Deploying satellites, in theory, you'd hit a number eventually. It's just like whatever. I forget what the one for Arrivals was, but they had those weird things that we had to throw balls in the middle of or whatever. I never even knew why that was there. It was just there.
I think we were communing with the darkness at that point. I honestly
exactly. That's my point. The Battlegrounds at least has a lore reason of why we're doing it, and I actually really like the way they're doing these. It feels like mini strikes, 3-person pieces of content where they just flood you with enemies and minor goals.
Right. The enemy density feels really good. There's a lot of Cabal, so it doesn't even matter if you have multiple people running Warmind cell builds. There are enough enemies for everybody to deal with.
Right. Yeah, you never feel like you're left out or things are being overly killed. Or, I mean, I've died quite a bit on Battlegrounds. Like, it actually has its own little challenging element to it, as opposed to I can just run in and twirl my sword forever.
Exactly. And another thing I like about it is there are different story beats. Like, the commanders you're fighting have different reasons for being on each of the different planets. Nessus, I think, was just because that's where Keitel is stationed, but then on Europa, they're trying to break into the Deepstone Crypt to get exotechnology. And then, I don't know if you saw, but this week they started a battleground on the Cosmodrome.
Yes, I fought at that one already.
They're pushing into Hive territory so they can get a staging ground on the city if they need to. So it makes sense why we're pushing back in these specific theaters of war, if you want to call it that. I mean, honestly, I forget what YouTuber I saw say it, but for the first time since the Red War, it feels like we're actually fighting the Cabal. Like, we're at war with the Cabal.
Yeah, they're not just around. Like, oh, hey, there's Cabal here. I remember getting a mission one time. It was like, kill Cabal. And I think I was asking you, I'm like, where are they now? Like, where do I even go?
That's the thing. We so thoroughly decimated the Red Legion, especially once the Scion sisters were killed in season of Season of Arrivals?
Yeah.
No, Season of Dawn. In Season of Dawn, like after that, who did they have? They had no leadership available to them. All that was left was Big Daddy Callus.
Yeah. So, I mean, overall, I think it's pretty good. I do like the way they're doing it. I do like how they're slowly cycling out the Battlegrounds. I'm not normally a fan of the drip-fed content, but by doing it on a weekly basis, I feel like just as I'm overstaying my welcome on the previous Battleground, I can check out the new one. I do like the way they're doing it that way. They're not stretching them out like monthly. You know, like new Battleground this month. I would just be, I'm done. I've already done too many Battlegrounds. Like,
The question is, will there be another one? And will there be a harder difficulty available to us in the future? Because I think
that's what they're gonna do. I think they're gonna move it towards harder difficulty at this point to make more sense.
And I hope there's at least a harder difficulty and maybe one more. I don't think there's going to be, but just to kind of extend it a bit further.
Yeah.
So far, how long do you think this is going to last us? I mean, besides if you're logging on every week to just do your weeklies and knock those out, how long do you think this season's going to last
I
us?
stand by my original statement. I think about a month and a half to 2 months in, we're going to have done just about everything they have, and it will only really be logging in for mandatory exotics or quests that drop or things like that. I think it's fun enough as it is that I can get on and I still have fun with it. I don't think that's going to last.
You actually think this season's going to last longer than I do?
I'm kind of foreseeing the beginning of April. I'll kind of be moving past it.
I think at about the 4 to 6 week period, you're going to start seeing people move away again, because.
But that also comes down to how you play it, though. I'm trying to limit myself to 2 days out of the week. I'm enjoying my time in Destiny. I guess if I'm playing it daily, yeah, I mean, then you're going to expedite that process.
Fair. So, how do you feel about the seasonal content versus playlist balance this season? That being, you have to charge up. You have to get Cabal Gold by doing playlist activities. And then after you get Cabal Gold, you can slot in runes into your hammer.
While I agree with why they do it to keep the content moving, I don't like that they keep forcing me into old content. I just don't. This game has been around too long for them to force me into the same old content. If anything, I'd like them to let me charge it off hunts so I could do last seasonal content. You know?
You might be able to charge it off hunts.
Do you think so? If I'm wrong, then that's the misstatement. But so far, I've been charging it off strikes.
Somebody in the comments, let us know. I think you can charge it off of hunts. You can, you can get gold from doing almost anything, and I believe hunts is on that list. I know lost sectors, dungeons, raids, strikes, Crucible Gambit. I can't imagine that hunts isn't in there, but maybe it's not. I don't know.
Right.
But besides your overall feeling about that, the balance compared from this season to last season, do you think?
So far, it feels better. I've been in more Battlegrounds than I've been in Strikes. I will say that. Just because last season, I had to spend a lot of time charging the stupid hunt thing.
Yeah, the lore. That's what I was getting at. I feel like they've improved it. I see your argument, though, that it would be nice if you didn't really even have to do that.
I get the requirement for it. I wish that it would just charge off of Battlegrounds slower and you could speed it up if you go into other content. That'd be great. Just like if I have zero interest in rerunning Arms Dealer for the 8,000th time, I don't have to. Like that, I just wish that option was there. I could jump in with you in a strike, but if I'm just playing alone, I'll just spam Battlegrounds for a little while, you know?
Agreed.
So I'm going to move past your notes here because we're already way over what I expected this to be. It's supposed to be a short video. We're going to, Trials, still the exact same situation. New loot, that's cool, but same situation as Trials. GM Nightfalls are not out yet. The raid, Shank, how's your rocket hunt going for the rocket launcher?
It's going fantastic. I'm still hunting. It's great.
Because I got mine. It worked really well in the Presage mission, which is what I'd like to move over to next. Presage. So, and I agree with you, Shank. I'm actually glad we're doing this after that mission dropped. So for those who aren't tracking, the first week, the concept was here. We were having fun. But this week on Tuesday, they dropped a brand new mission to get a brand new exotic. And the mission was awesome. And the lore implications are insane.
I'm loving it. Somebody mentioned to me that they're thinking there could be a new race, and spoilers, but if you're watching this, you want to know our reaction. So obviously spoilers. They were talking about there could be a new race, and I was like, no, there's no way. I get into that mission, I'm like, oh, okay.
They're making the flood. That's my only complaint. That it's still Bungie being like, so what else in Halo haven't we moved yet?
and the Vex are the Borg.
Yeah.
And
I'm not arguing that. It's fine giving us like a zombie like race like this. I'm just saying that it very much felt like the flood is invading. Oh no!
Right. Between that and the implications of what's going on with Callus, I'm sure you haven't seen the new lore book yet for it, but somewhere in the notes it's talking about the Glykon and Catabasis, and basically that's the Guardian who went onto that ship and started experimenting on the Scorn. He was a shadow of Callus, and that's what caused the Glykon to go so haywire. But I'm kind of curious what the implication is going to end up being for Emperor Callus, because his daughter's now in the system and he's completely AFK for the moment.
I got a feeling he's going to be, because you have next for our notes, and we can kind of move to that predictions of the season. I think that's how we're going to wrap up the season. She's going to piss everyone off and he's going to show up with the Leviathan, and that's the raid next season, not Vaulted Glass.
My prediction for the season is actually completely opposite from you. I think Keitel's pulling a bait and switch right now. I think Keitel wants more than anything for us to team up for the Guardians and the Cabal Empire to embrace the light and try to push back against the darkness. I think her entire posturing in the opening cutscene was an attempt to maintain legitimacy within the Cabal Empire and also kill off any of the people in the Sol system, any of her Cabal, who are so stuck in the old ways that they still want to fight the Guardians.
Maybe.
Basically kill off any dissenters who wouldn't want to form an alliance with the Guardians.
Right.
I'm hoping that's where they go, because so far I really like Keitel.
So far I'm really enjoying the season. Let's wrap up with that. Like, so far we're 2 weeks into the season. The first mission they dropped, which I dropped a lot earlier than I thought, is amazing. The story characters, loving them, loving the implications that we're getting with Crow. I love what we're doing with the Helm. I love what we're doing as Zavala. I love Keitel. I agree. You're thinking 4 to 6 weeks people are going to be dropping off. I think if you play at a more casual rate, it'll get to 8 to 9. Do you think that this season is going to last until what's probably going to be June? We have no idea when the next season is, but actually we kind of do, don't we? We can easily look at the seasonal.
Right.
81 days. So not June. Do you think it's going to make it till May, though?
Till May? I mean, I think it's going to make it. I think the game will still be running in May.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Shank.
I think the player base is probably going to drop off, but I think that's now the ebb and flow of Destiny. I think people need to come to expect that there's going to be a surge of players in that first month or two. The hardcore will stick around month 2 and month 3, and then once we're in month 3...
You mean week 3? No, I mean month 3. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Once we're in month 3, I mean, there's not going to be anything to do. So whether they need to speed up their production schedule so that they can have stuff coming out, or whether it's a good thing that players can step away from the game, go play other games, come back and really not miss anything. I mean, I think it's a good thing. I actually kind of like the cadence now. I can come back, I can enjoy Destiny for a month, and then I can go do other stuff. Yeah.
I'm not arguing. I agree with you on that too. I think it's a great game as long as you take it as a casual game. I mean, there is the argument that I wish this game was more hardcore, that I wish it had a hardcore kind of element to it, something that we could really focus on. But the fact of the matter is they have gone all in on this more casual approach, and I'm not against it. I enjoy it. I like getting on and just having a good time, goofing around, that kind of a thing.
Exactly. I mean, you can complain about what it isn't, or you can enjoy it for what it is.
Right.
To me, it's a great FPS with great lore, great visuals, great sound, and I just enjoy the loot chase in general. So I'm looking forward to the season. check back with us in 3 months when we do our season recap. We'll see how much my opinion has changed.
And we're just sitting there like, yeah, so a week after we quit. Yeah, guys, so please consider coming over to our Discord, joining our Destiny community every Tuesday and Thursday. Shank runs events that I try to hop into when I'm available, but he runs constant events, helps people catch up on their exotics, helps people catch up on their seasons. Check us out in our Discord. Link will be down below. And on that note, guys, we'll see you in the next video right here. Thank you.